been a minute since we've done one of these. Thought today was as good a day as any to talk about Jetblast. We've spent the last several weeks discussing Jetblast at all levels with management in the union. And there are a lot of thoughts on the subject and a lot of different ideas about how we can go about alleviating some of the risks associated with Jetblast here on the Phoenix ramp. One scenario I want to talk about specifically today is the Jetblast that occurs during pushback operations while we're pushing back airplanes. And the scenario I want to choose today is one that is very common, and I'm sure anybody who has pushed an airplane or has been on a pushback crew of an airplane or has indeed just been driving around on the ramp has seen this particular scenario happen. So here's the scenario. Gate Alpha 3 is ready to go. Gate Alpha 11 is ready to go. The tower, through no fault of their own, this is the correct procedure, clears them both to push. Clear to push, Alpha 11, clear to push, tail south, Lima. Alpha 3, clear to push back, pull forward to beam Alpha 5. That's correct. That is the absolute correct procedure. So what we see happen from time to time is rarely does it happen exactly simultaneously. It's usually one will come out in front of the other. And the jet blast that comes from the airplane at Alpha 11 will blow the team at Alpha 3. So let's look at the scenario right here. Alpha 3 and Alpha 11 clear to push simultaneously. As Alpha 11 comes down, it jet blasts the crew at Alpha 3 as they complete their pushback. Very common scenario. Again, no fault of the tower. They did what they had to do, which is clear the traffic. What that doesn't mean, though, is that you're clear. If you're the pushback operator or if you're a wing walker, you have final authority as to say when and when it is not clear to push. What the tower is clearing you is that they're not going to put any other traffic in the middle of you, and they're expecting a pushback from that location. What you need to do as pushback operators and wing walkers is ensure that you and your coworkers are safe. So in the scenario here, what can we do to keep it safe? Well, Alpha 11, let's start there. If you're the pushback crew on Alpha 11, don't start your engines until you're sure you're clear to start an engines. Now, sometimes you'll get a captain that says, hey, clear to start? Yeah. Wait until you can see that you're clear to start that engine. If you're going to push into a push crew coming out of Alpha 3 or Alpha 5, hold off on that start. You know, we've got enough time to get everybody safe and get the engine started in the right amount of time. So if you're coming out of Alpha 11, clear to push, go ahead and start your push. You know, if the coast is clear, the coast is clear. But hold off on starting those engines until you're sure the people behind you are out of harm's way. Now let's look at it from the Alpha 3 standpoint. Alpha 3, clear to push back, pull forward, beam Alpha 5. You commence your push, and you can see that maybe Alpha 11 or Alpha 9 is already pushed back or is in the process of pushing back. You might even be able to see if their engines are running or not. In that scenario, it is absolutely appropriate to hold off on your push. Don't get yourself in a hurry, and of course, don't put yourself in harm's way. Now, if you get halfway out and your main gears are straddling the blue line like they're supposed to, there's nothing that says you can't stop there for a couple of minutes too while the jet blast hazard coming out of Alpha 11 or Alpha 9 mitigates. Yes, you can wait for that. At the end of the day, the pushback drivers have the final authority as to what is going to be safe out there. So if you have an opportunity to hold off on an engine start while your coworkers are back behind you, or if you need to wait until a jet blast hazard mitigates because there's an airplane in front of you with its engines running, then do that. We've spent the last several weeks talking about this subject a lot with the company and with high levels at the union. And if you want to come down to the union office and talk to me about some of the details that we've come up with, I'd be happy to share what we've discovered about Jetblast. One thing that we need to be sure of is that Jetblast is very real, and the Phoenix airport environment has some very real hazards associated with the airplanes that we operate here on this ramp. So this is an ongoing project. We're going to keep working on it until we're satisfied with the resolution. And until then, let us know if you have any questions or comments about the scenario I described today or similar scenarios. And if you want to talk about Jetblast in depth with me, I'm happy to have that conversation too. Anyway, hit us up on the hotline. You can also leave some comments down here under this video if you want. In the meantime, stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for tuning in.